Brought to you by Eco-Alkalines, environmentally responsible batteries, cat5.tv/eco.
Hey, we are joined tonight by Bogdan Oros, who is here joining us via Skype uplink. We've got an uplink to his computer screen as well. We're going to be looking at his product, Endpoint Protector, joining us all the way from Romania. Bogdan, it is so good to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Robbie. Hello, Eric. Thanks for the invite. It's a pleasure for me to be here for the first time for the Category 5 Technology TV. It's a very nice surprise for me, and also a very late surprise for me, to be honest. Right now in Romania, it's actually around 2 a.m. So I hope my colleagues are going to catch this demo presentation. I'm sure if they're not going to catch it right now, they're going to look at it tomorrow. I've also made some small publicity for Category 5 Technology TV.
Very good.
So I'm going to try to speak a little bit about Endpoint Protector.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Endpoint Protector, we understand, is something that it's a hardware or virtual appliance running on the Ubuntu platform. Just had to throw that in there because we've got a lot of Ubuntu fans in the chat room and a couple of people that actually work for Ubuntu as well at Canonical. But certainly is an appliance that allows you to monitor and protect your business network from data leakage, which is private confidential data being taken outside of the company accidentally, or even data theft where it's actually done on purpose. You're able to protect that. So tell us a little bit about the product. We'd love to know more about this exciting product.
That is actually very correct what you said. I hope you're not going to take my job in the next period of time. So
no, I could never work until 3 a.m. There's no way.
No, okay.
I, on the other hand.
So you see my screen right now, I can imagine, yes?
Yeah, I'll bring it up for you.
What Endpoint Protector is actually doing, it has three important modules with which we try to keep the data in the company. So first of all, what we do is that we provide device control, where we have the possibility of blocking users who bring unwanted devices to the network, to the company's networks. On these unwanted devices, you can have viruses like Configure, or you can take confidential data out of the company. So this is the first module, one of the most important, it's device control. The second module, what you see also on our screen right now, it's what we call content awareness protection. This module allows the administrator of the network the possibility to stop users from sending confidential data out of the company. And we have the possibility of defining which is confidential data. I'm going to show you briefly later, a little bit later. And then we have the possibility of defining the applications which we want to protect, on which data can be leaked out of the company. This is the second module. And the third module is the most recent one that my colleagues were working. We actually had a press release earlier today, and it's called Mobile Device Management. This gives the IT administrator the possibility to protect smartphones and tablets which are running iOS and Androids on them. And I'm going to go a little bit in depth about the functionality of this. So, Endpoint Protector, as Robbie was very eloquently putting earlier, it's what you see right now, it's virtual or hardware appliance, what we can deliver. This is the interface with how we connect to the server. As you can see right now, I've logged in, and here we find several information regarding the system. And I'm going to show you, let's say, some small functionalities of the app just to get you a small teaser of it. So first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit how you have the possibility of defining rights per specific computers. So for instance, let's say we have this computer which has the Endpoint Protector client installed on it, and here we have all the types of devices that that Endpoint Protector supports. And besides the very classic that you can also see, like USB devices, CDs, DVDs, card readers, floppy drives, digital cameras, of course, the usual iPhones, iPads. We also have the possibility of defining rights for other, let's say, not so used devices like Teensy boards and Thunderbolt. And for example, the way that we define rights for specific devices is quite simple. We selected this PC, and let's say that on this PC we don't want to allow access, for example, to CDs and DVDs. What we do right now is that we just define the policy, we save it, and then the policy is being sent to the client, and then whenever the user is going to try to take some data from the on the DVDs in this case, they will not be able to do that.
So if somebody went into my office and tried to burn something like client data or credit card information to a DVD, you're saying that will actually stop them from being able to do that. So what happens in that case? What happens in that case if somebody were on site and trying to copy something to a USB drive or a DVD? What happens in that case?
So if something were, if for example, if you have a law if you manage to allow the USBs, then we also have the possibility of logging everything which is happening with those devices, with the USBs in particular. So for example, whenever the user is trying to copy files on the USB, if he's allowed, we have the possibility of knowing exactly what kind of file the user copied. So for example, here in this file tracing report that you can see, we see exactly what was the user's activity. So this user tried to read some file from this device. This was the file name, the file size, and the file type. Even more than that, if the user is going to copy something from the computer on the USB and he's allowed, we can also store a copy of the file and show it here in the server. So what we do is actually we make a duplicate copy of that file, which is actually being uploaded here into the server.
So
this is in the case that...
Sorry, in that case then, an administrator or somebody, let's say I am running a company and am concerned about people taking, let's say staff taking private information about our clients or something like that. So I'll actually be able to see what it is that they're putting into documents and things like that as they transfer files onto USB drives.
Exactly. This is exactly what you can do. And another thing that you can do is that if, for example, you have very strict and very confidential information, you might be an insurance company, you might be a bank, you might be handling a lot of very private data from the users. We also have the possibility of, let's say, defining that confidential data. And when we mean confidential data, we refer to strictly 3 important pillars that we can define. So first of all, what we define confidential data as specific regarding file types. So for example, we can stop people from sending certain file type over the internet or over certain USB devices. And here in the interface, it's very cool because you can define it in a very easy way. For example, you want to make a policy where you don't allow Excel files to leave the company's premises or to leave the company's premises. You just save the policy, and whenever somebody is going to try to send that information over the internet, the Excel files, they will be blocked from sending it. And of course, we can define those policies specific for different users, different computers, depending on how the administrator wants it. So this is why the solution is quite flexible. To put it like this. Another important thing after the file type is what we call a predefined content filter. What does this allow is that, for example, in the event that the user has some that the company is working with confidential information such as credit card information, such as social security numbers, IBAN numbers, we can define policies where, for example, we stop people from taking sending out on the internet information like let's say Visa, for example, Visa credit cards. So how we do this is that we just save the policy is being sent to the client. And now when I'm going to try to transfer a file which has my credit card information on it,
pay attention, folks. He's about to give us all his credit card info.
Go look at it. So as you see, you also see that you have, I don't have the permission actually to send this file over the internet. I opened it with Outlook because I was also protecting, this was the policy.
But even though you were stopped from being able to send that, to transfer that over the internet, you do personally still have access to that file? Like, can you open that file locally?
Yeah, I can open that file. And I can show exactly. So this is the file, and I will change one number from this. So now it's not going to be a valid credit card information. It's just going to be a simple random seek of numbers.
Okay.
And I'm going to save the file, and now, due to the fact that it's not a valid credit card information anymore, I should be able to send it over the internet.
So the Endpoint Protector appliance, in fact, validates the credit card data first, confirms that it's a valid credit card.
So what the Endpoint Protector actually solution is doing is that it's looking in the document and it's looking for these patterns, where in this case it's a credit card from Visa, but it's looking for different patterns that can be defined by the administrator. And as you can see, if I change the pattern and I change the number of the credit card, then the user can send this information. I can send it to myself, for example. And now I am allowed to send this information because it's not a valid credit card information
and it
anymore.
Just went. So I'm to understand that that the system itself doesn't know your credit card. It's not looking for your credit card number within the document. It's looking for any valid credit card information or private information.
For any valid credit card information.
I see.
Any valid credit card information. You can also give me your credit card information to put it there.
We could always just give it a try, you know?
I'm just curious in this matter.
So this is another filter that we provide. So this is the predefined content where we give a sequence of, we know exactly how a pattern of Visa card should look like, and we know exactly for a kind of pattern of numbers to look for in the document. The third filter regarding this has to do with what we call the custom content filter, where the administrator can define himself some regular expressions which shouldn't leave the company. So, for example, you can make something like a dictionary. In this case, I can put a confidential dictionary, which is already here, and you can define in this confidential dictionary list of terms which shouldn't actually leave the company.
Wow.
So here, we define any type of word. So, for example, you can put anything which is connecting the word Robbie to not leave the company's premises. We just save the dictionary, and then whenever somebody or whenever some of the users to which we assign this dictionary are going to try to transfer any documents which will contain these words, then the Endpoint Protector client will stop them from sending those information over on the internet. And of course, that saved the company a lot of problems due to the fact that a lot of people take confidential data and they can also leave with it, and they go to the competition and they can.
I suppose if you're in a large scale company, you know, say 500, 1,000 users, there's a very real potential that somebody could walk away with confidential data for malicious purposes.
To be honest, we have implementations running from 10, 15 computers. So this is also a problem that is also for the small and medium companies. It's more, let's say, stringent for the larger organizations due to the fact that they need to comply with a lot of regulations. But also right now the regulations are being also enforced on medium companies and also small companies due to the fact that some of them have a lot of intellectual property on those computers. Of course, this will help them keep their data in and keep them protected.
Fantastic. This is Category 5 Technology TV. We're joined tonight by Bogdan Oros, who is joining us from endpointprotector.ca, and we're talking about the Endpoint Protector hardware and virtual appliance tonight. And you can find out more on the website endpointprotector.ca there on your screen. And of course, join us in the chat room. Category 5 has a chat room on our website, category5.tv. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to cite those there. And
we are getting a few in the chat room.
And for example, if you could tell us, maybe let Bogdan know a couple of the questions.
What if you had say your credit card number was 11111222222, and you just changed that to some cipher that changed it from a numeric character to an alphabet like A, B, 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 B. Would I be able to send her that information?
Yeah, that information I'll be able to send, because that's not so when Endpoint Protector looks, it looks exactly for the pattern of how the credit card looks like. So if you assign, I don't know, certain numbers or something like this, if you can make something like a, I don't know,
some little routine that would change all 1s to A's and all 2's to B's and all C's to
cipher.
3's. Yes, that's what
cipher. So in case of that, we don't offer any protection in case it's a cipher. Just offer protection. We know how the credit card type of data looks like, and we always know how to scan it, and we always identify it based on the specific pattern that it has.
Okay, so I might be able to send out that information and reconstruct it at my place or whatever. Another question was, can you prevent printing of information?
we have the possibility of blocking here in the interface. We have the possibility, for example, to block for certain users, certain computers, to block the printers. Printers is a special category. For example, we just put them here in deny access. We save the policy, and then in specific for this computer, you're not going to be able to allow printing. So this is what we can provide for this feature.
Now, a common thing that I've heard of is, in order to get around these kinds of barricades that companies put up, somebody will just go and take screenshots and just email those screenshots to themselves.
Yeah, we also have a protection for this, for screenshots. So what we can do is that we have the possibility of actually blocking the print screen possibility. If you can see right now in my screen. So we have, whenever the user is trying to print screen something, we can block him from doing that. And of course, we can do that for different users, for different groups, different computers. Again, flexible depending on what the company's needs are, because maybe some of the departments are going to have confidential information on them, and maybe some of them are not going to have that important information in it. So for them, we don't need to define such strict policies.
I see. Okay. So what we have here then with Endpoint Protector is primarily a hardware device that goes into your network and provides a drop-in like piece of hardware. Is it like a proxy or a firewall? How do the devices connect to the server, and what stops the network from copying things?
Okay. The way we run the devices is that my colleagues from the technical team did an awesome job where they made, let's say, an integration of the hardware and software. And what you need to do as a user, as a company who's our customer, the only thing that you need to do is just get this hardware appliance that we can provide already with the operating system, with Ubuntu running, with Endpoint Protector server running already on it. The only thing you need to do is just connect it in your network, assign it an IP, and then the server part is already running. Then the only thing that you need to do is just deploy the Endpoint Protector client on the PCs or the Macs that you want monitor, because we can also have the possibility of protecting Macs.
Okay.
We are actually the only company in the world who have the possibility of protecting PCs, Mac, Windows, and Linux operating system.
Oh, okay. Now that was going to be one of my questions, because we run a lot of Linux on our networks, obviously, so I can install the client on my Linux systems as well. So really all-round solution. So what happens with mobile devices? Because these days, I mean, I can email stuff or copy things to my mobile device, and that can either get lost or stolen, or I can just use that for malicious purpose if I was that kind of a user. So what happens in that case now?
So we also thought of this possibility, and since we got a lot of feedback from the market regarding the fact that they wanted, let's say, more advanced mobile device management products. And what we do right now is that we are today actually we launched the first official version of the mobile device management. It's been in beta for the last couple of months, and today is actually the official release.
Fantastic.
And what we offer for this is that, first of all, as I said in the beginning, we have the possibility of protecting smartphones and tablets which are running iOS and Androids on them. And when I say protect, I mean, first of all, here we see a list of, let's say, a couple of smartphones. You have an HTC Wildfire, an iPhone, and iPad, and there you have the list of all the devices which are connected actually to this server. And first of all, I just selected this HTC device. So for this, first of all, for any type of device, first of all, we provide location, which comes quite in handy, because at any point in time, the IT administrators will know where the phones or where the tablets are in case they're lost.
That's fantastic.
Second of all, we give a lot of information regarding the phones or the tablet in this case, regarding operating system running on it, the Wi-Fi MAC, and you were saying earlier, if the user is losing the phone, for example, we have actually two possibilities. We have the possibility of locking, which means that we can send the administrator just locks the phone just from here, from the interface, and he can just send, when he pushes the lock button, then the phone is immediately locked. The signal is sent over the air, and or we can wipe the data. This is in the case where the user actually is sure that he's not going to find the phone. if he's not going to find the phone or the tablet, for sure he has some information, confidential information on it. And in case somebody finds it, that could be a significant data breach for the company.
Absolutely,
so due to this fact, we have the possibility of wiping automatically the data either from the phone or from the SD card. So we can do this actually quite different. We can do the data, the wiping from the device, or we can do the wiping from the SD card.
Wow, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, we got some customers who are very excited right now about these features that we provide. For the Android, we also provide, for example, possibility something like for you to, at any point in time, to know what are the apps which are installed on it, and you have also the possibility of actually uninstalling the apps. So if the user is going to have if the user has a company phone and he has some apps which shouldn't be on that company phone, then we have the possibility of uninstalling the apps just from this web interface of Endpoint Protector.
Okay. Now, are there policies? Let's say I have my personal phone that I've brought in from home. Would I be able to have a different policy because it's a personal phone versus if it's an office phone that I shouldn't be installing apps on?
Yes, we actually have a possibility of providing, because here in the phones, we have the possibility. In device settings, you have the possibility of saying exactly if it's personal phone, company unknown, and then you can have the possibility of defining specific policies. For example, you can define specific policies for iOS phones, or you can define specific policies for Android devices, or you can define specific policies, as you mentioned, set for personal phones or company phones.
Well, the product Endpoint Protector looks extremely robust. I mean, everything that I can throw at you, it just seems like you've already thought of it, which is fantastic. I mean, especially with a security product, it's not always easy for companies to really hit every nail on the head. So,
yeah, we try to make the best as possible from what Apple and Google gave us with the iOS and with the Android.
Yeah.
And also, for example, for iPhone, these days my colleagues were actually showing me today some really awesome features where, for example, you can also block a lot of apps, installed apps.
Yeah.
From working. For example, if the user doesn't need it, you can allow Siri or not. You can allow some apps, something like FaceTime, the use of camera, so that you cannot take pictures or something like that. So we can also have information like that. You can also allow YouTube or not.
Okay. So every user on your network is saying, why is Angry Birds not working?
Yeah. Some of them actually, because for example, we also, when, for example, you're running an app like YouTube for iPhone right now,
yes,
we actually, when we don't allow you to run it, you're not going to be able to find it. So what's going to happen is that you don't run it, you're not going to actually see it at all.
Okay. Well, that's smart.
Okay.
Well, that's
and
fantastic.
then when you go home, do you get your access back on your personal phone?
Yeah, what happens if
what happens once we leave the premises?
What happens? Well, it depends what kind of policies you have defined here.
So it's all policy driven.
It's policy driven. Depends on what kind of policy. Usually the policy sticks, but I know that my colleagues were also speaking of something in development that, for example, we're going to define policies from, let's say, 9 to 6, something like policies from 9 to 6, and after that you're going to have other policies.
Interesting. Oh, that's really, really neat. Very cool. We're speaking with Bogdan Oros from endpointprotector.ca. Do check out that website. There's a lot of information there just to let you know what Endpoint Protector is all about. Make sure down at the bottom of the page you like them on Facebook. You can tweet about them. You can +1 them on Google+. Make sure you go about that and send in your questions as well. And, of course, join the chat room. And Bogdan is there with us, joining us from Romania tonight, and is there to answer your questions for the duration of the show. And we love to receive your questions as well here at the show. Thank you, Bogdan, for being a part of the show tonight. Very, very excited about this product. I think we're living in an interesting time where security is becoming more than just an antivirus, more than just anti-malware. It's now an endpoint protector solution is the ideal solution as a supplement to those things, because all those things are important. But now we're seeing a whole new dimension of, okay, well, now that we've got a whole bunch of tablet computers or tablets in our office, how do we protect those? How do we keep people from taking them home, leaving it in the buggy when they go grocery shopping, and then all of a sudden somebody's got access to all of our company data? A lot of them also have, you know, like a remote connection to internal computers and things. I don't know about you, but I certainly have, you know, like remote desktop applications so that I can access my computers when I'm on the road from my tablet. Yeah. It's handy, but what happens in a business environment if you don't have any control over that? So I think that's where Endpoint Protector certainly comes in. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Robbie and Eric, and we'll keep in touch. And I'm also going to be here to answer to your viewers' questions. Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bogdan. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Category 5 TV is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. Thanks for watching.